Here is a 10 trillion Zimbabwe dollar bill. It has absolutely no value. I think maybe I paid $8 for it, but I probably only paid like $6 for it, and it's just as a collector item. It has no value. It will never, ever, ever have value again. And that's the piece. Even when they're talking about this, and even when I listen to a lot of other people, it's hard to comprehend, I know it, but inflation is telling you the truth. It is not that this food, this energy, this housing, everything that you're buying, it's not that those things are worth that much more money. It's that the dollar, which I threw away, is worth that much less. Officially, I've shown this so many times. 3 cents out of the original dollar, and that's official, which you and I know means it's a whole lot worse than that. So Russia isn't the first country to get this lesson in recent months, all right? So this is just hammering in that lesson because we saw it when the U.S. seized Afghanistan's cash assets. Yes, we did. This recognition may encourage central banks to diversify away from the dollar. You see why we're losing that status? I mean, it's been happening slowly, and that's the way things happen. They happen slowly until they happen fast. And that's why I would rather be, I don't care, 10 years, 20 years too early than even 1 second too late. Because when you're 1 second too late, you lose all choices. Okay. So this recognition may encourage central banks to diversify away from the dollar or try to re-anchor their currencies to assets that are less susceptible to influence from U.S. or European governments. What asset do you suppose that might be? I don't know. Let's keep going. There are different kinds of money. Inside money and outside money. There's 2 different kinds of money. Let's say fiat money, government-based money, or good money. The number you see in your bank account, now he's talking about inside money, which is what most money is. It is held inside of the system, and your perception is that you own it, but you don't really. They owe it to you. So, just to bring this down to your level, my level, an individual level, this is what I keep trying to tell you. Whether you are a government, a corporation, or an individual, at the end of the day, all of the rules, all of the laws of nature still apply to everybody. Now, I can't print money, the government can, but ultimately they apply. So I want you to understand this so much, because that's the example that we're seeing and that we saw in Canada. Don't forget that. The number you see on your bank account doesn't represent some kind of cash deposit in a vault somewhere. It's simply a promise from the bank to you that it will pay you that amount should you need it. The same concept applies at the sovereign scale. So what just happened in Canada? Those individuals needed that money to buy groceries for their families, to pay their bills, to continue to sustain a standard of living. And the government said, nope, you can't have it, and took it away, just like that. And the U.S. government, boop, doing the same thing again. I'm not taking sides here. I want you to understand this. The whole point of this is for you to see how this impacts you and how vulnerable and susceptible you are if all of your wealth is held in inside money. If it's all held in the system and they say no, who are you going to call? What are you going to do? There's nothing that you can do. If a central bank is in a situation like this and the currency's under pressure, would it ever come to having to re-anchor your currency to something like gold? He's asking that question because that is the historic norm. Yes, you always have to re-anchor to gold to get that confidence back because it's real money. This is why when they do that overnight reset, I mean, if you're listening to Wall Street, turn the TV off. I'll listen for you. I'll let you know what they're saying. But don't believe their garbage lies about the value, how much gold and how much silver is worth. Take advantage of it, but don't believe it. It's not true. That's why it is so critically important for you to have your wealth, some level of wealth outside of this system in real money and even some level of cash and good money, gold and silver that can always be converted. Then they say no to you with your accounts. You can still go buy food. You can still convert this. You can still barter with this and convert it into fiat if you needed to. And you can still buy real wealth, income producing assets. You can still function if you hold real money and even fiat, a little bit of fiat. There's a percentage formula. You know, we have that set up based upon the historic norms. But if your money is held, if your wealth is held inside the system and it's tied to dollars, and so number one, if the government says no, you lose access. Even if you have access, when this loses 100% of its value, it means nothing. Trillion times zero is zero. When we do that overnight revaluation, or when the confidence is lost in the dollar, that'll happen first. And then ultimately, we'll have to do that overnight revaluation because, they're going to try and say, well, this will solve it. It won't solve it. Well, let's do CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. That will solve it. It won't solve it because it won't change behavior. And who is going to pay the price? You are going to pay the price. That's who's going to pay the price. Everybody, all of the little guys will pay the price.